Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 26, 2022 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you're with us, and we will begin as we always do with a prayer. And Sam Hickson, pastor of Henderson First Baptist Church, will lead us. Please stand.
Father, I just want to thank you for this beautiful day that you've given to us. And I also want to thank you for this beautiful place that you've allowed us to live, and this community that you've placed us in. And Lord, I want to thank you for this court and for the responsibilities that you have bequeathed to them. Lord, I know that these decisions, they weigh heavily. And I just pray, Father, that there might be wisdom, that there might be equity, or that there might be genuine welfare and concern for your people in this county. And Father, we don't know all the things that we would like to know. We certainly don't know all the things that you know. But we pray that in those places where we don't know those things, Lord, where this group and this court does not know, Lord, that they would just seek wisdom from you and that you might be gracious enough to give it to us. Lord, we pray that you would prosper us, give us peace, give us prosperity and brotherly kindness. Lord, we ask all this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Magistrate Moran.
Here.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate McCollum. Here. Magistrate Berry. Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you in your packets the minutes of the April 12th, 2022 meeting of Fiscal Court. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We will begin with an item in your packets concerning the Canoe Creek mowing contract, and this is merely a request from the Flood Mitigation Board to a 12-month option and extension as per the terms of the original contract. Tim, you're on the mitigation board. Any thoughts to add to that?
No, we've been using that. We've been using them. We seem to be happy with them. So.
Well, I would make a motion to approve. Back in the 70s, they did not keep it clean, and then they had to start all over again. So you got to keep it up.
Yeah, I would second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're honored to have with us Nick Risley, who's chief of the Spotsville Volunteer Fire Department, who has a little bit of a briefing on some training opportunities and perhaps some help from Fiscal Court. So, Chief, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, I know it says I'm the chief of Spotsville, but I'm really coming before you today representing the volunteer fire departments of Henderson, seeking assistance from you all to provide our county with more medical responders. Currently, Henderson County as a whole has approximately 10 to 15 actively responding medically certified volunteers. And of course, even them, they're not available all the time. So with the occasional delayed responses from the ambulance, more medical responders are desperately needed in our county. Currently, the Fire Commission is now offering an EMR class, which is Emergency Medical Responder. And it's more affordable, and it doesn't come with the requirements that these third-party classes are requiring. The problem we ran into in the past when we've attempted to organize these classes is they require 15 students or more before they'll get an instructor. They cost $800 per student, and that's just the beginning. It goes up from there. The volunteers couldn't afford to pay for the class, and the fire departments couldn't afford to pay up front without running the risk of people dropping out or not reimbursing the fire departments. But with this new class, the class is guaranteed no matter if they have 1 student or if they have 30 students. The cost of the class for the students is $262 per student compared to the $800 that we would used to have to pay for the third-party classes. The instructor for this class will actually be a local gentleman who happens to work for the City of Henderson Fire Department. The class also has a one-time instructor fee of $2,400. And that number is based off of a class of 15 students. So the instructor fee would slightly go up depending on the total number of students. But at this time, we currently have 14 students that are showing interest in it. And tentatively, the class is scheduled for June 13th through August 27th. With the consideration that this is going to benefit in one way or another all the county fire departments, we basically have about like 4 options that we're asking you to choose from if you decide to help us. The first option would be to see if y'all would be interested in covering the one-time instructor fee of $2,400 to help get this class started. The other option would be to pay the $2,400 instructor fee and sponsor 15 scholarships to provide the class to 15 students free of charge. This would increase the pass rate, and we'd have a better shot at increasing the amount of medical responders we have in Henderson County. That would be a total of $6,330. Another option would be to just pay for the 15 student scholarships. And then the departments would have to figure out how to pay the $2,400 instructor fee. That would be a total of $3,930. Or the third option is just to leave the issue alone and let us figure it out for ourselves. But that's all I have. We're just.
Is that somebody from each department that would go to the class?
Yeah, there's actually a couple from some of each department. Now, I don't want to stand here and say that all departments have somebody going through the class, because
But you try to get.
we're wanting to offer it to everybody.
Right.
And the problem in the past is we could never come up with 15 students, and then they would cancel the class. So the people that actually was willing to do it could never do it because they couldn't get enough students.
Have you all paid for it in the past, the fire departments?
In the past, when they've actually gotten to the point where they had the class, they would be actually at like the bare minimum, and the fire departments would pay it. But the dropout rate, because the one thing that most fire departments required was you pay for it up front, we'll reimburse you when you pass. Well, the problem with that is they get halfway through it and they drop out. I'd say all the classes I've ever witnessed of these EMT classes, EMR classes, by the end of it, there's 2 students left.
Do you have any kind of contract with them to reimburse you back if they drop out?
We've actually tried the contract thing too, where we paid it up front with them paying us back if they didn't pass, but they didn't have to pay us back if they did pass. And that didn't work out for my department, at least, the last time, because we paid for 5 and 3 graduated, and we never seen the other 2 again. So, double-edged sword.
Well, there's a small claims court.
Yeah. Volunteers.
I understand, and I appreciate the volunteers.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
I'm for helping, and I really think this is a good thing to have those people out there. But but you want them to agree that they're going to serve for a certain period of time if you're going to spend.
Well, we do, with the contract, like the 3 that did pass,
Right.
they had, part of the contract of us paying for it was they had to work with our department for at least 2 years after they graduated, or they had to pay us back.
But nobody enforces that paying back, though.
No.
Well, you got to have some teeth in it, or it won't work.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that would involve me as the chief having to go to court and do all that stuff.
they probably wouldn't show up, and you get a default judgment, and it, you go that way.
Yeah, then you-
Do you believe the dropout rate will be lower this time?
I've classes in the past that I've seen when, like, I think y'all paid for one before, and I think that produced like 10 students. I don't remember.
Can't recall.
It was pretty good considering what we've seen in the past. So when it's not as much of an obligation on the student, they tend to pass.
And when you
get
say
through.
that, you mean like an upfront financial obligation?
Yeah, well, yeah. And plus, the classes we were trying to do before were 800 and higher. I mean, and the 800 didn't even include the National Registry test and all the stuff that you had to do after you, because once you pass the class, you still have to go to National Registry to take the test. And if you don't pass that, that's $85 every time you test. I know, I took it twice.
So this doesn't cover that?
This does.
This covers it
Yeah,
all? When they
the
get done with this,
260
they're done?
Yeah, the $262 covers the $100 textbook, the $52 background check, the $85 National Registry exam, and the $25 for the Kentucky certifications.
So basically, they're just giving us a gift.
Yeah. This is actually new that Kentucky Fire Commission is offering, and I think it's great. I've never seen a medical class this cheap. So I'm kind of glad they're doing this and if y'all help, I think it'll produce a lot of students.
Chief, if I'm following you, you got people on the volunteer fire department now that really can't react to an emergency situation because of lack of training.
They cannot do anything
Medically?
medical. The firefighters can. Like when a firefighter gets on the scene of a car wreck, they can do, if they're not breathing, they can do CPR first aid. But if they are breathing, the most they can do is hold their head still.
This has got to be a plus.
Oh, it
Is it-
definitely will be.
Would this work fall under the ARPA funds?
Or contingency, either or.
I was kind of hoping it would fall under that.
Either or.
Well, I think something new. I hate to see people drop
I,
out. You can't commit the total.
No.
I agree with Charlie. I mean, I think there ought to be some type of contract. If they drop out, they ought to have to pay it back.
Yeah.
What if we paid the instructor fees and then agreed that if they completed and passed it, then we would reimburse them for that?
That's exactly what I was thinking, that.
Yeah, I like that too.
That we will reimburse you for everyone who completes the class.
And
In
pay the
addition to the
And pay the
instructor.
and pay the
instructor fee.
instructor fee.
Yeah.
And then
So that
reimburse.
you'll,
Would that work
put my
if
pen
something like
there. So you're saying pay the instructor fee in the beginning and pay the other in the end?
If they graduate and can pass the course, we'll reimburse the total cost of whatever, that
Right.
$280, whatever it
Same
is.
thing, it's just a reimbursement.
Yeah,
To encourage them to,
to finish it.
yeah. So we would pay the $2,400 instructor fee. We'll give you that, and we will reimburse the volunteer fire departments for every person who completes the class.
The 262 per person.
260.
Up to,
I would say unlimited.
Yes.
Yeah, the more the better.
yeah.
Really.
Well, that's what we were hoping. That's why I didn't like putting the limit at 15, but I didn't want to go asking for $262 for 20 students.
You're only gonna get so many. You're never
Yeah.
gonna-
Oh, that's the thing, and you're only gonna have so many pass. So I kind of like your idea too.
I mean, you'd be tickled to death to get 15 through the course, I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I don't care what department they're on. If we get
Yeah.
15, I mean, that's just 15 more people out.
When is this going to happen, Nick? When is the class?
The class is scheduled for June 13th as a start date and ending August 27th. And that'll be
Oh, well.
Mondays and Thursdays with 2 Saturdays.
The $2,400 we can do up front in this fiscal year. We can do that. We would not be reimbursing until August, so we just have to figure that into some
I'd make
Budget
a
line
motion
item.
to make that a motion that they do the upfront fee for the instructor fee and then reimbursement if they complete the course.
And we'll, I guess, have that conversation as we budget, and make sure we
Right.
include that, but, so we have a motion.
A second.
Motion
and a
second.
second. Any other questions of Nick?
For
Obviously,
Brenda's
wanna help.
purposes, do we need to specify what fund that's coming out of? Is that,
We will take that a contingency and move it into the volunteer fire department's line item and pay it out of that.
Hey, we appreciate everything y'all do.
We appreciate what y'all do.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody from emergency management need to take that class or two, or?
I'm sorry, I was laying it in.
That's okay. I just,
Do you need an EMR certification, Kenny?
I do not. I'm an EMT, have been for 25 years.
Okay.
does anybody else in your realm need to do that?
Yes, I can probably say I've got several volunteers that would be interested
Can
in
you
that.
work with, I would say we would be happy to have them on board too, if they would do it. Okay. So if you all can get together and work that out, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess, Nick, I was going to ask where you sit down. Just as far as getting the younger group of people involved in the volunteer fire department, are you having much luck attracting younger guys?
I know that some departments have junior firefighters. I mean, I got one on my department, and I think Zion's got a couple, and I think Cardin has a couple, but it's not.
We're not
like
knocking
it
the
used
door
to
down
be.
yet, so
Yeah, it used to be good, but it's,
kind of tailed off.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Nick,
Yep.
I'm not running for anything anymore. And if you want to call me, I'll help you with the burgoo again.
Okay. Hey, you can all come out and help with that.
Just remind me about it, thanks.
The help for that's slacking too.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion?
You call me and Keith will do it, come too.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Nick. Next, we're really honored to have with us three representatives of a committee that's forming Henderson's first formal Juneteenth celebration, and Miyoshi Holloway, Dr. Michelle Chappelle, and TJ Miller are with us, Tim Miller. If you wouldn't mind coming up, both Miyoshi and Tim were members of last year's Henderson Leadership Initiative class, and each of the Henderson Leadership Initiative classes pick out projects that they would like to see accomplished, and Miyoshi quickly, last fall, identified Juneteenth as something she would like to do after President Biden declared it a federal holiday. Tim Miller was in the group that kind of coalesced around this idea, and I helped mentor them a bit, and Dr. Chappelle has joined the group to help guide and kind of advise and also participate in making this happen, and I appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Miyoshi, and you have a presentation for us.
All right. Well, thank you all for having us. And like Judge Snyder said, behalf of our HLI group and those not present in their absences, Ryan Nunn, Courtney Ferguson, and Heath Cox. So they were also our HLI graduates. Here's just a brief summary of what we will be doing on Juneteenth. This will take place this year, June 19th, down in Central Park, downtown, from 4 to 7. Anything else? Okay, so this slide right here is actually just a layout of where everything will be. We'll have a library corner, which we are actually collaborating with Shannon from the public library. They will actually take over that corner for us. We will offer a kids activity. They'll have a tent set up. We actually met with them last week, me and Courtney. They will actually have the bookmobile. The whole purpose of a part of Juneteenth is to educate, empower, and inspire. And Courtney, being a teacher in the school system, just noticed that, per COVID, that there has just been a real struggle with kids in the school system with their education, and reading is one of those. So we thought collaboration with the library would be so powerful. That's that empowerment, and having the bookmobile is an inspiration. So they're willing to give out free library cards to those that come. Along that street were vendors and food truck. Myself and Dr. Chappelle actually went and we mapped out how many food trucks and vendors we'd have. We'd have 16 food trucks, 25 vendors. I've worked with Lindsay Lacosco to help set up the vendor and food booth application, which that will go on our Juneteenth website on Facebook. And food vendors, we are limiting, once again, that's 16 food trucks, 25 vendors. We'll also have some health resources there, such as Matthew 25. Cabell Platt will come. Who's the other one?
The health, is it health? Yes,
Health.
Capital Flat, yeah, I can't think of those right now. The police, didn't you say the outreach for the police?
Yes, so also HPD will be there, not technically as security, but they will be walking the area. We feel that is a part of when you talk about the African-American culture, and just in general, a community. We'll also give Chief of Police Sean McKinney a platform that day to talk about his new role and how he wants to further be a part in the community. The tables that you see will actually be spread out periodically throughout the park. We will have a band, which is Soul in the Pocket. They will be playing that evening. Stage presence, we have a variety of performers from spoken word, a choir, dance, and that just comes from what our heritage is. The impactful people, that entrance will be, we are doing 8 tractable signs of people in the community that have put an impact to the African American community. Thelma B is one of those. A lot of people don't know why there is a school named after Thelma B. Al Beatty's name was mentioned. Reverend Brooks, he also has the park. A lot of people don't know that that's a park. Bobby Jarrett, her impact throughout the community and what she is doing is just phenomenal. And then leading up that sidewalk in the gazebo, we will have artwork, and that will come from the high school students. They will create a piece of artwork. They will have a brief description of that artwork. The area for the kids, we will have inflatables. We're also going to give away some type of free ice cream, maybe to the first 100 kids, just to keep the kids engaged. Overall, we have done this layout. So this is what we talked about for the impact, the influential people, their picture, the balloon arches will go at each 4 corner. The gazebo, that's where the artwork will be displayed. We'll also have photography. Actually, Courtney's son is actually we're gonna take a trip to Waverly. There is a African American gravesite, so we'll actually have pictures from there as well. That's just another entryway that's where the kids' fun will be. Face painting, inflatables, free ice cream. The impact through literature, once again, is partnering with the library. We will also give a book away to the first 100 kids. We thought that would be a good idea. Impact through Main Street, that's the food trucks, the food vendors. Featured acts, once again, is the spoken word, interpretive dance, singers, jazz, and then Courtney's contact information.
Also, we want to make sure this is a non-political event, so we want it because it's family oriented. We are looking to distribute some flyers. I'm currently working on that right now with that. And then also, we're working on banners. Tim, you want to talk about the banners that we're working on?
So I'm pretty much like today I'm going to go through and find probably about 3 more locations for the banners. I know one is the 5th Street overpass. We also want to do some yard signs for people to have, and we're redoing the banners for downtown as well for the flagpoles. I'll have a quote for that more or less tomorrow, but that's all that I got on that part.
And then we are charging the vendors, and that's there. The food trucks is $50, and the other vendors are $25 as well. And we're also looking at putting a banner on Second Street by
East
the school board system there as well, and then we're looking for another third location as well to put a banner or advertising.
When you said Fifth Street, do you mean Fourth Street, the railroad tracks?
Yeah, is that
Okay.
Fourth Street? Okay.
Have you talked to CSX?
We haven't yet.
You might talk to the sheriff. Mr. Crafton has done that for the Lions Club, which I'm a member of, and when we have our auction, you notice, and he might be able to help tell you how to do that. I would also talk to Channel 25 and 14 to see if you can't get on there. They've got some, local community type programs and stuff, whatnot. And I'd also encourage you to talk to the chamber about the Dolly Parton literacy, where the kids get a free book if you're, I think, between, I don't know,
0 and 5.
0 to 5, or whatever. And my grandkids just loved it. But you got to have a parent or a grandparent, somebody to sign them up. And a lot of kids don't have parents that care. I mean, I wish that were not the case, but if we can get these kids while we're down there and maybe get some of them signed up on it, it's not free. I mean, it's free to the kids, but they take donations. It cost. Whenever my grandchildren started, I think they said it was $35, and I thought, well, that's good. I gave $35. Now I realize it's $35 a year, so I had to come back and give a little more. But it's really a good program, and the kids, whenever they get their own book, it's just most of their small books. But would you read this to me, and it crawl up in your lap? Just can't. There's not much better than that, I tell you.
And also, we want to add that Reverend Charles Johnson is also on this committee as well. He cannot attend because he has other obligations.
Okay.
And going forward, HLY will be our sponsor for the event this day. And we have worked closely with Brianna Cessna. They have Field and Main has set up our account. They are taking that on. Jan White is handling our insurance for that. This event is important. It'll be the first one for Henderson, Kentucky, and we felt the need of having this event is important.
Have y'all set up a 501c3 in order to be able
Well,
to?
she's HLI is going to be that 501c3
yes.
this year.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's HLI's role at this point. They're acting
Yes.
as the kind of fiduciary
Okay.
vehicle there. Hopefully by next year, the committee will figure out another option, either a more permanent home or their own 501c3, one of the
Okay.
two. So.
Questions?
Anybody have questions?
Sounds wonderful.
Oh, we're just asking for $2,500 from the fiscal court.
And that's for just one-time expenses?
Just
to
one-time
start?
expenses, and wherever that we choose to use that at, that's just where it'll go, but it's just $2,500.
And you're making a similar ask of the city?
Yes, we had a special presentation with them. We'll actually go back in May 10th to do our final so they can put it on the minutes. We're asking for $2,500 from the city as well.
Any thoughts about that?
Where would it come from? Do we have is there a place for that?
Yeah.
Okay, I have no problem. I think it's a good idea.
Anybody, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we give them $2,500 for the Juneteenth celebration in Park.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other thoughts or?
So when your food trucks and the booths and stuff you're going to be setting up, will they have a fee to put your feed trucks out there?
Yes, it's $50 for food trucks and $25 for vendors.
Okay.
And Brianna Cessna at Field and Main has agreed that she will help us with that process so they can actually take that payment to her at Field and Main Bank.
And it's on our form that we created.
Yes.
As well, and we're requesting them to show their business license as well, business insurance.
And I think this first effort, figuring out how much it cost, what expenses end up, creeping in that you didn't anticipate. Anytime you put an event together for the first time, you never quite know how it's going to go. So I think they're trying to get some sponsors here and then take this first year experience and figure out what they need to do next. I just in my opinion, I fully expect this to be something that the private sector will back wholeheartedly and enthusiastically, especially once they see what it looks like. So But again, when you're starting something new up, it's never easy to guess right off the bat, so.
A lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
And then also, we forgot to add to our presentation, we're trying to ask local restaurants to feature some type of soul food dish as well, leading up to the event. And we know that it is WC Handy Festival this week as well, so Juneteenth is always going to fall around WC Handy Festival, so we didn't want to tie that in. We kind of trying to make it separate.
But it's a good follow-on celebration on that Sunday right after, considering W.C. Handy's legacy here.
If Reverend Johnson was here, he would throw his opinion out there that it's Father's Day that day this year. So he's very adamant about that.
Yeah.
And in his absence, he actually is on the ministerial committee, and I believe he's had 7 churches commit to a small donation.
I think it's like $250.
$250 from at least 7 churches that have agreed to help with sponsoring or giving to the Juneteenth celebration this year.
Hopefully this first one will be great. And another, if I'm not mistaken, the emphasis on the food trucks were minority-owned food trucks, or at least giving them first chance and recruiting them,
Yeah.
encouraging them to be part of it. Yeah.
And there's a lot of vendors here that we don't know that are or they might not have a food truck, but there's some that sits a tent up every day on Green Street that
Yeah.
you can
Right.
buy. So it's not only just for food trucks, but any other food
Yeah.
vendors that wants to come and participate.
And emphasizing minority-owned businesses in town to take part. I remember that conversation, which I think was great. So, any other questions?
Is that meal, she said, just a Saturday event?
It's Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday event.
So it's just from 4 to 7 all day. Ryan Nunn's working on our volunteers that will help with setup and breakdown. But after this, we really just want to hand this over to the next generation to take over. That's the goal. The young people in this community.
It's not easy at all.
It's not.
No, it is
We're
not.
hoping that's where the education, the empowerment comes from, that they want to be a part of what's next for their generation.
I'm sure that'll be a gradual kind of handoff.
Yeah.
But the whole point, as you mentioned, is number one, educate people about what Juneteenth
Yes.
is, why it's important in the community, how Henderson's connected to that timeline, and plus we have some younger folks in our community who want to get this done, and I include Dr. Chappelle in that remark. So I think the general overall feeling is let's give it a go, give it
Yeah.
a shot, go for it, and I think you're going to get a lot of support in the end, and I think people will enjoy the experience. So.
And where and who would you make donations out to?
It would be to Henderson Leadership Initiative with a memo, in the memo line, Juneteenth. And I'm a board member. If you deliver me that check, Charlie, I will get it to the right place.
Yes, boss.
If that's what you want to do.
Judge, I call for the question.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Thank
All
you.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all
Good
for
luck.
your help today.
Keep us posted.
Thank you for listening.
Next on the agenda is an item that a couple masters asked me to put on the agenda, and that is for their question about a compensation in the future. And with that, I'll turn it over to any magistrate who'd like to lead that conversation.
Well, Judge, just to start it off, I'm going to preface it by saying, it's been in excess of over 30 years since there's been other than one cost of living increase in over 30 years for the gentlemen that hold these positions on this court. And lady.
And that also includes the coroner too, as well.
Yes.
And also the coroner as well. So, having said that, with the review of what surrounding counties, this immediate area, and some across the state, when you look at what the salary range, we're in that the lower part. And other than McLean County, I think we're the lowest in our immediate area.
Well, I when I decided not to run, I tried to get some younger people to be involved, and it didn't have much luck. And like you said, I think this has been the same since about 1982.
I think you're right.
The only increase I was aware of was when they approved the expense allowance back in probably '88 or something like that. But other than that, there's been no increases at all that I know of, Bruce.
There's been only one cost of living and one rate increase I know of in the last 15 years plus.
And just for, because I'm familiar with that, when I was county attorney, the statutory max was $48,000. I think it's now like 114 or something like that. So it would, if you'd gone with the inflation, it would have more than doubled, and it has not done that. But I would like to take this opportunity. I'm not going to be here, and I'm sorry about that, because I was wanting us to see about changing the magisterial districts to more appropriate locations and districts. I don't think there's any sense in having magistrates that don't have any roads or have any ditches or have anything. That was artificially created back in 1962 or 63. Supreme Court case something versus Baker came down from Tennessee, where the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the federal government could be involved or should be involved in making sure that there's always one man, one vote rule. In that case, you have to have 95% of the same number of people in each magisterial district. And in Tennessee, they had not changed their magisterial districts since 1908, I think. And unfortunately, Henderson County was exactly the same. Our magisterial districts weren't changed like they were supposed to be. In fact, Geneva had 400 residents, whereas I think Glenn Johnson's district had 3,500 people. So you had 400 people had a greater voice in our community than did the 3,500 in the city of Henderson. And I hope that you've seen that I care much about the county, about the ditches, about the roads. I know how important it is. We're all in this pot together. And if I don't succeed, nobody does it. People in the county don't succeed. So I don't see that it's necessary that we have the county versus the city anymore. You could save a lot of money by doing away with 2 magisterial districts. I was going to suggest, and that's what, when I tried to get the Commissioner of Form of Government installed, that was one of the reasons for it. You would save more, and it wouldn't cost the county any more money by giving the raises, and it would make it more, maybe more valuable to somebody to want to run if their salary was more. So that's what I have to say about it. But
From a legal standpoint, just in case it's confusing to anyone, I want to point out a couple of different things. KRS 64.530 subsection 4 talks about county officers and any change in their salary has to be done no later than the first Monday in May in the year in which the officers are elected, and it would take effect for the next term. There's a
would not affect us at all.
Correct. There's a constitutional provision, Section 235 of the Kentucky Constitution says that salaries of public officers cannot be changed during the terms for which they were elected. So it would be a vote now, but it would take effect for the incoming fiscal year.
In January
Yes.
of 2020.
2020.
Any other thoughts there?
I mean, I was hoping we would do the redistricting, but because the Census Department and everybody fought over whether you're going to put immigration status and all that on it, it didn't get done. We should have been doing it, and that was my goal, what I was hoping to do. And I was going to offer to bow out as cut it into 4 equal districts. It would not add it might add what, one little bit of Rock Road.
That's my road.
I know. That's your road.
That's my road.
But it wouldn't create
take
any
pride
more
in
extra
my
work much work for the magistrates at all, because there's not any in the city.
Me and Tim have a lot of gravel, don't we, Tim?
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, not a lot right now, but it will be.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it. I don't want anybody to think that this just came up and we just said do that. We've talked and talked and talked, and it's a tough decision. But it's something that hasn't been done in so many years. if any, especially young business people, say that would ever look at maybe running for one of these seats, I mean, I don't know that they would. You know, I mean, there's, and I know we can't raise it enough to make somebody say, oh man, I want to do that job. That's not going to happen. But you got to start somewhere, and it hadn't been done. And I feel like if we start now, at least it's a start. And maybe another 4 or 8 or 12 years, whatever it is, it may come up again. We won't be here, but if something's not done, then we could be another 30 years down the road, and whoever's here saying, it's been 60 years. You know what? I just feel like we need to do something.
Let's put it in perspective. I'm gonna run these numbers real quick. Davis County, a magistrate makes $60,998. Coroner makes $84,000. Henderson, we make $17,212. Coroner makes the same thing, $17,212. Union County, with a population of 14,000, magistrates make $19,248, and the coroner the same. Webster County, 13,000. These are the census estimates, 24,350. And then, of course, you got McLean County, which is the lowest with the census estimate was 9,201, and they make 11,400, and the coroner makes 8,000. So they're kind of, I think we should fall in line, or at least fall in line with them.
Population.
We're 45,000, 46,000, And when you're looking at 14,000, 13,000, and 9,000, and 2 of them are making more than we do, and the coroner as well. So I think it just pulls it more in line. And to your point, Keith, I agree with you too. It's not very attractive.
Yeah, I think
If you got,
looking down the
because
road
you don't get elected for free.
Right.
If you're campaigning, it costs money. If you're not out there trying to raise money, you just ran out of your pocket.
Right.
The only difference in us and Davis County is they have the Commissioner form of government.
Commissioner form of
which only
government,
has
correct,
3
3.
members,
Right.
so they're not paying as much money. They're just paying it to a lesser number of people, but it is more money. So they've got basically the third of the county to operate.
And Union County, I think, pay for committees that they're on. So there's different, or boards and stuff, they get paid for that.
Yep. See, which
So
we
it's-
don't.
Like a
Right.
per
So it's-
meeting thing or something like that?
They didn't elaborate on how, they just told me that they did.
Okay.
But I just think we need to look down the road to start, like I think I told Butch yesterday, I said, everybody on this court's going to eat next year, over the next 4 years if we don't do anything. If we have to go out and eat with Bob McIntyre, we'll eat better maybe. But you know what I mean? It's kind of looking ahead to me. That's the thing. So that's all I got.
Well, since I'm not running again, I'm going to make a motion that we raise it up to $25,000. Effective, not with us, with this term, but, and I hope that all of you all come back, because this has been, in my opinion, and all the time I've been involved with the government, the best fiscal court. There is none of my little district or fiefdom or whatever that, and I'm really proud to have served on this court with you guys, because that has been one of the best things that I think we could have, is because I've seen it a whole lot worse, and I'm sorry that you all are taking some brunt of that, where we've got the people wanting you to put the culverts in their private driveways, 300 feet away from the road, and, well, so-and-so did it back in 30 years ago. That stuff is wrong. Unfortunately, I saw my name in the paper again today when they were talking about the Cardin Cemetery, and, the county used to help maintain the private cemetery, and guys, it's illegal, it's wrong, let's just do it right, and,
Right.
But I'd make that motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second on an increase to a base salary of $25,000. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll incorporate that into our budgeting starting tomorrow.
And that my motion meant to include the coroner too.
Yeah, I was going to.
We'll include that in the motion. Okay, next, animal control reports.
Hi, Ms.
Sure.
Todd.
Hi, how are you? As you guys can tell, I'm not Sarah Shearier, who is our executive director, who is still in Indianapolis in the hospital with her child. We're going on 4 months now. We had 73 calls, 33 strays, 1 seized, 13 returned to owner. We are packed to the gills with cats and dogs. And we have some of the sweetest dogs you have ever seen. We had Josh Jones come yesterday. He is a trainer, and he is sharing some of the dogs on his website and giving a $100 gift certificate off of the training to try to help us place these dogs in homes. What we have done, because we have so many dogs, is we've asked rescue groups from other states that don't have the dog problems that we have, like Michigan, for instance, and they come down and take 20 dogs. We get nothing for those. I was talking to Butch earlier about our deficit going into this, and that's why we don't have any income coming in from the sale of the dogs. We do have fundraisers that we have going on. We just had a booth down at the Tri-Fest, and we have that, and we have a guest bartender night at the brewery, and we do have fundraisers that we have planned throughout the year, but it's just it's not meeting the demands that we have. We are trying, but it's just not, we're just not able to keep it going. Alyssa is one of our ACO officers. She has completed her euthanasia training and Kentucky Animal Care and Control training. Ann Tucker is another new ACO officer, and she has officially started and is working on CACA training and will do her euthanasia training in July at the next available opening. We are conducting interviews for a third ACO. Our plan is to have a third one because with 2, it's just not possible. I volunteered out there last Saturday, and the phone rings constantly. You know, there's a dog in their yard, or there's a dog running across the street, or there's a dead cat in front of their house, or, I mean, it's constant. It's not, you know, hit and miss. It's constant. Owner surrenders and strays are very high right now for dogs. We are very, very full. For some reason, people don't understand that there's a leash law in Henderson and Henderson County. If you have a dog, you have to have it on a leash, and they have to be licensed. They just don't get it. I don't know what it is. We have a 2-week adoption event coming up May 2nd through 15th through a grant with Fiscal. And what that is you will get a dog for $25 plus tax, which includes spaying or neutering and a chip in them and their first shots. Not their rabies shots, because we don't do that legally. And that's really important. And then what they do is they reimburse us for the rest of the adoption fee. So if it's like $150, you'll pay $26.50, and Fiscal will then in turn give us the rest of it. So hopefully we're going to clear some animals out during that 2 weeks. And we also have a transport going to Michigan, hopefully this week, with some more animals. And what we try to do is send the animals off for adoption in another state that we have had the longest. The dogs kind of get kennel crazy after they're in there for a while. We've got one cute little dog named Naso right now, and he just runs around in a circle in his kennel. All the time he runs around in a circle. And, you know, in Michigan, we ship these dogs there, and in a week they've got homes. In Henderson, they get adopted and brought back, and get adopted and brought back.
What are they doing different than we are?
Well, they have, it's my understanding that they have laws that prevent them from dogs being, you know, having babies and having babies and having babies. We have situations to where we don't, when we put an animal out of our facility, they have to be neutered and they have to be spayed. We don't let you adopt them unless we do that. And a lot of, you know, we have people who say that they're not going to breed their animal, but if you're not going to breed your animal, why do you not have it spayed or neutered? And so that's what we have in Henderson right now. So
You have many people that'll get a dog and then keep it 6 months, decide they want a different breed, and they don't like it, bring it back and try to get another one.
yes, and we are trying very hard to keep up with that, and we will not let them have another dog. Or what they'll do is they will bring in an old dog just because he's old. You know, I'd hate to think that somebody would trade me in because I'm old.
There's just a lot of people don't need that animal.
I agree. I agree. And this Josh Jones is asking us to get involved with placing animals with vets. And
Veterans, not veterinarians, right? Yeah.
yes. Yes. I didn't make myself clear on that. Yeah, because there have been a lot of dogs that have saved veterans' lives. A dog saved Josh's life because he was, you know, he had PTSD so bad when he came back that.
How long do we keep the dogs before we euthanize them?
We do not euthanize a dog unless it is deemed aggressive and cannot be rehabilitated.
So do other states do that?
I don't know, but I don't like to even talk about.
Well, I understand, but at some point, I mean, I'm from a farm. At some point, if you got more cows than you can feed, then you have to take them to the slaughterhouse.
Well, I understand that, and you get money for it, and it produces food for someone. If you euthanize a dog, it doesn't do anybody any good.
I understand it's not friendly. I mean, I get that. But we also have, there's a limited sum of money that, I mean, to the point where we're going in the hole here. And I mean, I know it's not what we want to do. But when people understand that, people may look at it another way too. They can take it to you and you're going to take care of them forever. But if that stops, maybe those people will go out and adopt the dog to keep the dog from being put down.
I don't know.
I
know there's not anyone on this board that agrees with putting down a dog or a cat. We do put them down when they are sick, when they have been injured and can't be fixed, so to speak, or when they're so aggressive, when they have been so trained by another human that they attack and kill on sight. We put those dogs down. But You know, just,
Emma, let me put this, same thing Tim's saying, but a different way. You know, under the law, you just have to retain that dog for 7 days, and if it's just not placed somewhere else, they can be put down. That was your point, Tim?
Yes.
I understand
And I
his
know
point.
we're not called a no-kill shelter.
No, we're not.
But there's a lot of no-kill shelters out there. We just don't happen to be one. I think we extend the time or try to find a placement for that dog, as opposed to putting them down after 7 days.
Well,
Is that?
let me just share with you that those no-kill shelters bring their animals to us when they can't adopt them.
Again, that's.
And when they need to put them down, they bring them to us. They don't want to kill them. They want us to do it.
Well, why do you have to accept them? You all got to come up with a business plan on how to make that place work. And if you've got too many animals and you won't kill them, you got to either raise more money or buy more food or do something to take care of them. We got to have a plan. Business does not work without a plan. And I don't hear, when was the last time somebody was charged with a dog running at large without a
Well,
leash?
now that we have ACO officers, they are writing citations.
When was the last time there was a ticket?
I think last week.
Okay, I hardly ever saw them. When was the last time you got somebody for not having their license on their dog?
Well, we are doing that now.
Okay, well, it's got to be done, and you got to treat everybody the same. You can't be.
And we understand that. But when you hire someone and they're lying to you, telling you they're writing tickets and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're not,
Okay, you
what do
got to
you
have a
do?
plan, double check that, and make sure they're not lying to you. You got to have a system set up that's going to make sure that it happens. It's the way you operate a business.
I applaud you, Emma, for being here. You know I think the world of you, but again, she's here as a courtesy
Right.
for
Right.
the Animal Control and Humane Society. She,
And,
the actual person that's probably should be answering the questions is not available. Am I right, Emma?
yes.
and she's got a heart big as this courthouse. I mean, there's no doubt. So that's not in question at all. We know that you love every one of those animals like your own, but that's.
Yeah.
what-
I do want to ask, the $22,000 deficit you're showing right now, would you attribute that to unexpected expenses or revenue that you expected it has not come in?
Revenue that we expected that has not come in.
And can you tell me which areas of revenue that have underperformed?
We haven't been able to have any fundraisers with the pandemic.
Okay, so just to clarify, this is the entire Humane Society budget we're looking at, or just animal control?
I don't know what you're looking at.
It's what y'all turned in.
This is what we get every meeting. Is it the entire Humane Society budget, or is it just animal control? It says animal control, but is it, because fundraisers should not impact animal control. You follow me? Fundraisers that you do are for the Humane Society, kind of half of the house, right? What we pay the Humane Society is to contract for animal control services. So that amount that we pay you, I forget off the top of my head, 120,000 or so.
120.
Yeah, combined with the city's 120, we're looking to cover the animal control functions. And those shouldn't rely on fundraisers. You know, the fundraisers should go towards shoring up the Humane Society shelter side of the equation. So are there any, but you don't know whether this is the entire Humane Society budget
I
or not?
don't. I really, truthfully, don't.
Okay.
Now, I could lie to you and make up something off mic.
Oh, don't do
and
that.
I don't want to do that.
Don't do that. Well, as we budget for next year, I know the Humane Society has turned in a pretty good sizable ask for the animal control side of your operation. And let's make it a point to get together and go over those numbers to make sure that the Humane Society shelter side of your business is independent of the animal control side. We want to fully fund the animal control side based on your experience. but ideally, those two are separate.
Yeah, in most counties, they are separate. They're separate entities, separate buildings, separate everything.
Yeah. So
You-
keep, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Keep plugging along, and I know it's challenging, and there are lots of variables here, and it'd be, I know it's a tough situation with your executive director at the moment. But,
And I would like to ask you to talk to your board, because they're the ones that are supposed to be managing and setting up your procedures and setting up your systems and how.
I'm on the board.
I understand, but I mean, and you got to come up with a plan. If you're not going to kill animals, you all got to come up with a plan on how you're going to fund paying for those. So you're going to have to get those guys to come up with an idea and a plan, a business model, the plan that's going to make it work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I mean, it's just not. You can't keep coming back and saying, we need more money, we need more money, we need more money. It won't work. You got to have a business plan.
And Tim, I'm sorry that I got aggravated at you. That was not
That's fine.
my
That's-
intention. I just am.
I like emotion. I like that. That's
Well,
fine.
I've got it.
any other questions? Thank you for coming.
Thank
We do appreciate you being here. Renee Sabner, your report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today I have the payments to the county treasurer for the month of March 2022. We have excess fees for the month of $166,757.44, sorry. And also have a quarterly total of $578,584.17. And also, the total remitted for March is $237,890.84. Does anyone have any questions?
Make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Any
Renee.
opposed? Thank you,
Can I say one thing about
Sure.
voting? Okay,
Sure,
thanks.
please.
The County Board of Elections will be inspecting our early voting machines and our absentee voting machines this Friday at 1 o'clock. If anybody wants to attend, we do advertise that. It's going to be on the first floor of the courthouse if you want to come by. The county board is Beverly Bailey and Jeff Buckley, myself and Dwight from the sheriff's office. Since David's on the ballot, he's not able to be on the board this year, so we something we routinely do, but just if anybody's interested, sometimes I know people ask you about elections, integrity and,
The fraud.
yes. And so I just want to reinforce that we do these public inspections, anyone's invited. And also the various options for voting, again, on our website, on Facebook. We also have a poster that's being revised with Ty Rideout, and it will be have all of the options, and hopefully I'll be able to get that into various, places in the community. And it will have a QR code, so you can scan it, and you can take it to go. Take the poster with you, so just kind of give you an update. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Renisa, I
Yes.
was in a meeting the other day with Senator Mills and Jonathan,
Mhm.
and they are putting forth money for new voting machines. And I'm hearing that possibly we could get reimbursed for the ones we paid for.
It's already happening.
It's already happening, yes. I
it was
applied
on
and
it.
I applied for that. I'm keeping the judge updated and also Brenda updated as far as when the check, it should be here soon. But yes, we are getting partial reimbursement for that, so.
That is good news.
Yes.
Usually Henderson.
I can't believe I didn't lead with that, I forgot. But thanks for bringing that up, Tim, yes. I think it's approximately $119,000 we'll be getting for that, so.
Henderson built the district court, and then the state built district courts for everybody else that couldn't afford it. We built the jail. Come in, and they paid, I mean, we didn't get, so this is nice that we get some reimbursement.
Yes, it is. We were right there at the cutoff. We bought them, and you all bought them in 2019, and that was the cutoff. So thankfully, we made that. If we would have been any earlier, we wouldn't have made the cut. So, but yeah, that's good news. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa. And Treasurer Ryder? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gold.
Judge, I've got several checks today. Dental and life insurance, $13.89, $306.24. Health insurance, $5,251. Aflac, $204.42. Interest, $3.76. Total today, $5,779.31, bringing the fiscal year total to date to $130,219.41.
Thank you. Can you get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now, Treasurer Ryder. Sorry.
You've received the transfers, and they are as presented. This is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget. And these redistributing is for the general and the road funds.
Again, we're getting that time of the year where we're seeing how things shake out, moving money around as we need it. This is no exception, and of course we have some good projects happening in road departments, so we're moving some stuff around to make that work. Just this time of the year, it's kind of the, almost describe it as the Tetris.
And this is still within the budget.
Yeah.
And we had a few transfers because we had double people working the same.
Right, exactly.
Yes, there was a couple of things from contingency, and because it was staff changes, an overlap in staff changes.
I'd make a motion to approve the.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You've received your bank balances, and after paying claims today, the day-to-day appropriation should be at approximately 83%. I do have additional claims from the general fund. The first three that I have are all for refunds of 2020 and 2021 payroll occupational tax, and this has been verified by the occupational tax administrator. This is where the employer more or less deducted from the employee and forwarded the proceeds to Henderson County when in essence they did not work in Henderson County for that period of time. These individuals are Marlene Daniel in the amount of $1,621.44, Valerie Whitledge, $780.75, Nicole Needlinger, $1,571.03, and these are to come from the refunds appropriation line.
Were any of these from the facility down at Roberts?
Two of them were from Century Aluminum that actually ended up working at home in Webster County. And then one was from Nexstar Broadcasting, which actually worked in Vandenberg County.
Okay, so nothing that we would have paid to other counties or
No,
anything?
sir.
So that's, okay. I'd make a motion that we approve the claims and,
We got some more.
I beg your pardon.
Also from the general fund to Dell Technologies in the amount of $8,998.98. This is for an additional server to serve as a backup for the current servers and is to come from the IT appropriation line. Also from the general fund, from the jail fund to Republic Services in the amount of $636.54, and this is for monthly service and is to come from the contracted services other appropriation line. That's all.
I would make a motion to approve the additional claims plus the ones we've previously been getting.
We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Any other questions about that? I will say that you said that percentage at this point should be 81%.
Should be approximately 83%.
83%. Just so you know, the general fund is at 72.5%, Jails at 58.4%, mostly related to not having the budgeted number of employees. And then the road department's at 77.8%. So I appreciate all the elected officials and department heads.
And I think we've pushed over the top on everything except maybe the insurance tax. Other than that, we're above.
Yeah, we are close to that point of the year where I always breathe a sigh of relief that we've gone beyond our general fund budget revenue number.
It is good.
And
Yes.
we're going to be fine.
It is.
So thanks to everybody who's helping, stay within budget, keep us in the black as much as we try to be, and thank you, Brenda. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Under old business, I know you perhaps were expecting to vote on the admin code and personnel policy today, but Mr. Gold reminded me that in the admin code, it requires us to review all this information every June. So we thought, well, why don't we just vote on this in June, since we've changed it, and that'll kill two birds with one stone, and we can move on. And I agreed with that, assessment. So just hang on, and we'll vote on it in June, and we'll satisfy the requirement in the admin code. There won't be any changes made, just putting it off to make sure we adhere to that.
Yeah, by statute, even if you voted on it today, you've got
You'd
to
have
vote on it again in June.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So, good of the county. Anybody in the audience who'd like to come up and say anything for good of the county? With that, we'll go to Magistrate. Let me start over here so Tim gets it. We don't have a judges scholar today, so it really would have helped if we'd had a judges scholar. You wouldn't, But I'll start with Magistrate McCullough.
Thank you. As usual, my roads are all in great shape. My ditches are in good shape. I mean, my drainage is just fantastic. I would like us to sort of put back on the back burner. I had a nice talk with the road department staff on their budget and whatnot, and I thought it was really good. And in that conversation, I talked to Nick, and we were talking about the old county list of easements and stuff that we don't have anything, and he immediately, we ought to do that. So I was pleased with that. I don't know what's going on with the Planning Commission, if they're going to try to get that grant, but I think that is something that we need to not forget about. I sort of started it before the pandemic, and I guess I could, if we want to try to work on that some more, or if we want to wait to see about getting the grant or whatever, but it's something I think I'd like to see that get accomplished at some point, so we know what all property we have. I mean, where all the right-of-ways are, where all the ditch I mean, as Tim found out, that Pond Creek has right-of-ways. Canoe Creek had right-of-ways they did back in 1972, and then we redid them again about 3-4 years ago whenever we cleaned out the ditch. So it doesn't make sense to keep doing things over and over again. When you got it, you get it on a list, you put it on the GIS map, and then we got it forever. And then if they want to widen a road or fix a ditch or fix a bridge, you just go to the GIS and you see what you got. So I'd like to not forget about that. But everything is good in the 5th District.
Thank you, Magistrate Berry.
Thank you, Judge. I don't have a lot. I want to read a card that we received from one of our school ladies that was here, the Judge's Scholar person. She has addressed it to Dear Mr. Schneider and members of Fiscal Court. Thank you for honoring me on March 8th with the Judge's Scholar Award. It was interesting to see how the government works. Thank you also for taking me and my family to lunch. That was my lunch day. It was a day I will never forget. Sincerely, Mary Ellen Whitfield. I thought that was very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, and that's all I got. Everything's good. I got a couple of roads to look at, but other than that, I think we're good in the 1st District.
Thank you. Magistrate Putman.
No, thank you, Judge. I was just sitting here thinking, and as usual, everything is good in the 4th. Thank you.
Maybe the shortest go to the county you've done. Master Moran?
Same here. We've had several road issues and water, of course, everywhere, but everything, as far as I know, is good in the 2nd District.
Master Southern.
I met with the road department too over on their budget, talked to them about next year's budget and stuff, and I think we need to, and me and Charlie's talked about this too, but I think we need to address the problem with, and I don't know how, but they're ordering stuff off of this year's budget, and then if it don't get here, it's coming off of next year's budget, and it's making it look like their numbers are inflated for next year. And it's not at anybody's, well, somebody's fault, but it's not their fault that they can't get a truck until 2023 or a mower till 2024. And it's gonna, I think once it's budgeted and once it's approved, there ought to be some type of account or somewhere where we can take that money and put it here and it not draw out of next year's budget. The money's there. It's been approved, and there's got to be a way legally that we can put that money in an account.
There is.
Or it's designated, it's over here and carry over for next year or something. I don't know, but I agree.
It'll be part of our carryover. If we identify what that number is, that amount is, it'll end up in carryover, and we can just take that amount, amend it into the budget as needed to complete the purchases. I mean, that is not difficult at all. And, as long as everybody understands it and, understands that we'll be pulling money in that's not been budgeted, but we know we need it.
Right.
Because it'll skew the budget a little bit, but it's not as if we weren't expecting it. You know what I mean? It will skew the budget we pass because it will be in addition to whatever we pass, but that's okay. You're right. We didn't spend it this year, so the money rolls over.
Right.
And
like I
we
said,
can
this is
identify
the
that.
best fiscal court I've ever seen, and we've got money. Working without money, your emergency management, and unfortunately, that's what's had to happen at the road department. They've been, or in the past, been doing emergency decision making, and it doesn't work well. I also talked to him about our bill for the grade auto. Well, they've got it set up so that we're going to constantly always have a bill, because when this one's paid off, the other twos are worn out. And but we got the money to buy it now. We can do it. We'll save the interest, which I think was $18,000. Doesn't sound like much, but I like working from this side of the fence rather than working where you don't have cash to work with. We need to work, like Tim said, where they've got, and they know they've got it, and they don't have to be playing these kind of games. But
well, it is an unusual circumstance. The
Right.
delay in delivery, the supply chain challenges that everybody's experiencing has made it much more complicated to buy a piece of equipment and keep it within the fiscal year that you intend. I mean, everybody, I think, understands that. So if money that is unspent but rolls over, to me, in my mind, can still be used just as easily to buy that equipment. It's just how you budget it and what we set it aside for, make sure we have the right number. It is not difficult to do. And I don't think, Treasurer Ryder, I'm saying anything. I mean, it's not hard to do.
Okay.
And on that same vein, I'd still like to see our budget where we've got the totals from, where we've got the departments, Social Security, their cost of insurance that they use for their vehicles or whatever, all come under the budget where you can see what the office actual expenses are instead of having to figure it out from the backwards, but
There's only two like that, sheriff and
the clerk, county attorney.
Well, I mean, Steve, we'll provide that.
The jail, the insurance rates are on everything. But also, if you look at
I recall, though, this is Magic Southern's good at the county.
But he poked me.
And a big thank you to Renice's office. I was trying to find those easements again for Pine Creek, and your staff stepped up and helped me tremendously. And I understand why we've got easements and nobody knows where they're at, because they're hard to find. It's not an easy task, but maybe we can look at that in the future and get that taken care of. And all's good other than too much rain.
I've got a few items I want to congratulate the. Oh my gosh! I passed right by again.
It's all right.
Mr. Gold. I'm embarrassed. Twice. Apologies. What do you got, Mr. Gold?
Things are good in the county attorney's office. Have been working with Mr. Evans in my office to make sure that we do have the interactive spreadsheets and everything ready for the budget work session this Thursday. So we should be able to have that up, just like the judge I put in his email. I'm sorry, Wednesday. Yeah. You know what? It'll be ready Thursday. No, no, sorry. Yes, we'll be ready for all that Wednesday and should be able to have that in that format that everybody likes to see it. Other than that, things are good.
Good deal. Apologies again, Steve. Thinking ahead of myself. Again, congratulations to the Breakfast Lions. Tri-Fest was a hit. We had great weather. I know the organizations that were able to take part, the local ones who sold items and put out food, and I'm sure they had a good weekend. And it was fun to shake lemons again with the Lions Club. Really good to have a Tri-Fest again and one with good weather. This is National Autism Awareness Month, and we want to recognize that. I know that because the Experiencing Autism Together group, the local autism advocacy group, had a booth at Tri-Fest and had a good talk with them, and they wanted me to remind everybody about National Autism Awareness Month and the many families here in Henderson County who have relatives or children with autism and all the potential that they have in their lives despite their wrestling with autism. So good people, and a good thing to think of when you're out and about, thinking about places like the Sandifer Center and other organizations that help those people become independent and work. We are going to have our budgeting workshop tomorrow 3 to 7 right in this room, and it is an open meeting for anybody who wants to attend. I wanted to give Fiscal Court a heads up that on May 3rd, and Renisa, you may already know this, but the May 3rd Lions Club meeting at noon at the library. The featured speaker will be Secretary of State Michael Adams. Be here to address the Lions and talk about the upcoming election and the work his office has done with local county clerks to make sure it's free and fair and easy to vote, hard to cheat, as he likes to say. And so if you are interested in attending that, just contact me. And if you are not a Lion, we can figure out a way to get you in that lunch. Always an interesting speaker, Mr. Adams.
And anyone not a Lion is invited to join.
That's right.
Like,
it's a good excuse
club.
to
It's a good
take an
club.
application and fill one out. With that, I appreciate everybody's time today. We are going to, I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for KRS 61.8101G, discussions between public agencies, representative business entity, discussions concerning specific proposal and economic development. And, there will be no vote. I anticipate no vote coming out of this meeting, but I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll go into executive session, and again, I anticipate no vote afterwards, so if you, unless you want to see us adjourn when we get out of this meeting, we'll see you all next time around. Make a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.